Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Joe Buskens. This is our family's boat shop, and we are up inside our 29-foot center console that we built here in our family's boat shop, and we're doing a modification today. I've got a little fine F-E-I-N oscillating, or a little multi-tool. We've got a Craftsman little blade there that I just bought for this specific job, and it's not fiberglass, but it's a modification you guys at home might find really helpful. I'm actually trimming down our windshield here on our boat. So this windshield was a one-of-a-kind. We had it custom made at a local glass shop, and I made it a little tall, not sure exactly how I wanted it. Once we got on the water, I saw that we've got about 3 inches too much vertical height. So what we're gonna be doing, and you can see I have actually already started making a cut. So first off, a lot of you at home may have boats with factory windshields, and for whatever reason, you may be happy with the height, but our style of fishing is very visual. And there's a lot of times when I want a windshield, but I want to be able to look over the windshield. I don't want to have to look through it. There can be glare from the sun, and there can be water spots and whatnot. So I'm trying to find that sweet spot there. So what we're doing, and I've already started, is I took some measurements. I made a little gauge or a block, basically the height that I wanted to trim this thing. And you can see how we were able to go around, and you can see the little line there. I used a magic marker first. Now you can just cut it on the line, or what's cool about these little multi-tools is you can actually use the block as a gauge. Trim just like that. Now, I will also sometimes just freehand it. I'm gonna come around the side here. All right, so what I like to do, just like when we were trimming the fiberglass on our hardtop for this boat that we're building, generally it seems like it's better to go ahead and make kind of a cut or a score rather than trying to plunge all the way through and then cut that way. If you plunge through and if your blade is tilted a little bit, it can take you off of your mark. But if you kind of make 2 or 3 little passes, so I've made that one initial cut, and I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about. So you can see we made it through there on our last cut. So I think y'all kind of get the idea of this. Now this isn't something you might do every day, but if you own a boat and you're not happy with the vertical height of your windshield, don't be afraid to do this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna continue around. We're gonna do a little more cutting, and then I'm gonna show you folks how to kind of shape it up and fair it and contour it so that it's smooth to the touch and it looks like a factory edge. Woo. All right, there we go. Got better visibility on the way. Now you can see we've got a pretty, it's an edge with some ripples and some whips to it. We're gonna whip out the 3M block, and I've got some That's some 80 grit. I hope y'all can see. And what you can do is just start shaping and fairing this stuff. It actually sands quite nice. And yes, of course, you could take the windshield off, but on this boat, it takes a minute. It's a little tricky to get the windshield on and off, and honestly, there's no reason to. And this, for our boat, now you could always do that on your boat if it's easy to take it off. But what we're gonna do is do a little shaping and contouring. Wanna hit it a little bit everywhere. So rather than trying to get one area perfect, want to shape up a bit on one side, and then we will shape up a bit on the other side. Again, this is a personal preference thing for me, but visibility is so important, and I've noticed, especially as I get a little bit older, your eyesight, if I got water spots all over this and the sun is shining on it and glaring on it, it decreases the chances I might see that big tarpon rolling on the surface or some fish breaking or striking. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the 80 grit, and there is actually a slight bit of crown or contour to this windshield. It's very subtle, but it matches. There's a slight crown or contour to the console itself, and we want to match that. As always, some eye protection, ear protection. We have fans blowing in the shop today to give us some good ventilation. Now these corners here are a little sharp, a little crisp, and you could use a power tool. You can also just go to sanding on this stuff and soften that edge. Just that easy. Now obviously, again, this is like Lexan or plexiglass. You couldn't do this with like real glass, but I would assume most of the boats out there have this kind of windshield. You don't have the full enclosure, so it's not actually glass. It's going to be a plastic material that you can work with this. So we're about 10 minutes in or so on the shaping and contouring with the 80 grit paper, and I'm pretty happy with it. Honestly, I'm not shooting for just absolute perfection here, because I want to go test this thing out and try it before I finish it completely out. But I am going to go ahead and drop down to some 220 in a smaller block here, and what I'm going to do is soften these edges a little bit. These corners can be quite sharp where you cut this, and the 220 grit sandpaper can kind of clean up these little contours and edges a bit. We don't want any sharp surfaces on the boat, because people routinely put their hands up here. This is a pretty easy modification to your boat, though. It can seem a little scary to do this, but again, one of the little fine oscillating tools. Bosch makes them, Makita makes them, but I'll put a link in the description down below, as we do with all of the videos. And if you guys are new here and just finding the channel, this 29 footer that we're inside of, we built every spec of it here in our family shop. We're working on a hardtop mold build series for this boat, and a ton of gel coat and fiberglass repair videos that'll help you guys keep your boat in tip-top shape and modify it as you need it. Woo! All right, I think that's looking pretty good. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna go crazy with the sanding and the detailing on the edge, because I want to use this thing a little bit and be sure it works good. I don't think I'm going to trim it anymore, but for right now, I'm just going to give it a test. Now, obviously, once you're done with that, a little clean and shine is not a bad idea. And we're gonna be posting more of this kind of stuff on the channel, folks. For those of you that have been following us, I know we've kind of been more of a boat building, fiberglass, gel coat, structural core, but there's gonna be more electrical stuff and modifications and even more fishing trips coming through on the channel. So if you folks are enjoying what we're doing or enjoyed this little tip, be sure to give us a thumbs up, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. It's Captain Joe here with Island Marine Charters Fish Bump TV, my amazing cameraman working hard behind the scenes. And as always, we will catch you guys next time out.